This podcast contains questionable language, topics, and strong opinions, not for children, the easily offended, nor the faint of heart. Listener discretion is advised. Okay. Did someone have the stream up? You better kill that. Hey everyone, this is Brode.
This is Alex.
And we're in the Doghouse. Today we have a special guest, Davia.
Davia.
Sorry, okay, Davia. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us in the Doghouse today.
Thank you for having me.
So, let's see, I need to get it off the break time one. There we go. Alright, we got the Doghouse up. So, what would you like to talk about? You came prepared to done some research about something, hadn't you?
I like pot. We all like pot. So, we should talk about it.
We totally should. I like that idea.
Well, you know, and we're in Kentucky, so it's not like, you know, we can just roll up, smoke outside, you know, I mean, it's still considered illegal, unfortunately, here in this state, which I think is bullshit.
Yeah. That's bullshit when most of the states of the nation are at least doing recreational. Kentucky is way behind.
Yeah, medicinal at least should be legalized. I mean, the tax money that goes back into the state, I mean, that right there, that's boosting other states up there financially so that they can get road work and everything else done. Have you seen our roads lately?
Yes, they're terrible.
Our neighborhoods?
It is one giant pothole in here.
Yeah, nothing's looking too good around these parts. But yeah, it is a huge financial boon for areas that does legalize it. I mean, it breaks in a lot of tax dollars. You'd think that these states would think about the money. They love to tax the shit out of everything.
Yeah, cigarettes. Holy crap.
Right?
Almost $5 a pack. Depending on what you get, it is $5 a pack and more.
It only takes like, it's not even like half a dollar to make a pack.
Right.
It can't be. So, you know, most of that is going into the state's coffers.
Oh yeah.
So please, you know, make better use of the stuff like hold on a second, like the infamous Governor Matt Bevin.
Oh boy.
We'll get into some more of that later today. So what do you want to talk specifically?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that Colorado made like $1 billion last year just in marijuana sales. So I'm just going to leave that one right there. Just saying.
Oh wow. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. And that is not just people getting high. That is people actually like getting the actual THC and the actual like cannabinoids and actually just taking it for medicinal purposes. Like children are not getting high when they're getting the cannabinoid oils. Like,
right.
It actually is helping them.
And what kind of children are being, you know, distributed to, how is this working?
It's mainly seizure patients, but it also helps with like scoliosis and things like that for pain, muscle relaxing, and it's almost no THC, it's all the CBDs, so it's just the cannabinoids that are helping them, like calming them down. Like I saw a video of a girl who got cannabinoid oil and she was autistic and she was self-destructive and she was literally punching herself in the face.
Oh my.
And she literally, like, her dad, like, it was like a inhaler of some oil and calmed her right down, and then she was hopping, skipping around, having fun and watching TV without punching herself in the face anymore.
And we're talking non-addictive drug.
Non-addictive.
Oh wow. That's amazing, because whenever you're talking about like a pain reliever or anything like that, especially if you're having to take it for long-term periods, there's an addictive quality that goes into it. The person starts feeling like they need it just to be able to do any daily activity.
Right, and you don't know if you're not in pain anymore if you're on like an opioid, because then you're like, oh, now I'm not taking it, and then all of a sudden it starts hurting. It's not your back that's hurting, it's not your leg that's hurting, it's the withdrawals. The pain hurts. Like, just getting off of it hurts.
Well, I mean, so you're saying that, you know, it's pretty much the brain backfiring because it's not getting, you know, the chemical or whatever that it's used to, in this case, opioids?
Or opioid. Or Percocets, Vicodin.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Oxycontin.
so we're talking stuff
like
that
stuff
people
your
actually
dentist
sell
gave
on
you.
the street. I mean, I know of a lot of people at one point or another that, you know, they'd be out of their prescription and they couldn't get it from their doctor for whatever reason or purpose until a certain time, and they have to go and find it.
Exactly, and it's people that actually need the pain medication, like older people with back problems. They have a hard time getting pain medicine because of young people with drug problems.
Yeah, and that's actually really heartbreaking.
Because some people actually need it, and some people are abusing the system because they're addicted.
Yeah. And when you're talking about giving something like that to younger generations, you know, that may need it, you know, in the beginning, you're creating an addict to, you know, as they get older, to go and try and look for this stuff.
Yeah, because then you have, you know, you're building up a tolerance. So, you know, year 5, you're taking 2, when year 1, you're only taking 1.
It all around is heartbreaking. I do like the benefits, though, that you were talking about, you know, as far as a seizure as a seizure medicine for those that, I mean, I've suffered through seizure-like activity before. It's really frightening, you know, when you're in that state when you can't control it.
Yeah, and it's amazing that just a little bit of, you know, THC or a cannabinoid can just actually calm you down and stop the shaking and relax the nerves and the muscles and actually snap you out of it. It's an amazing thing that we should really be profiting on.
So now, is this something that they're using like for depression and anxiety meds too, or I mean, is this just, you know, all around the board for like?
It does. They're also trying for like women's troubles, cramps and such, because it relaxes everything. And then there's different strands. So you have the anxiety strands that relax your mind. Then you have the ones that are body types. You have various different types. It's like an actual prescription.
What? So you're talking about like actual botanists, you know?
Yeah, like actual like chemical science, but without the chemicals.
Which for me, I'm pro anything that, you know, deals with non-chemical type of medicinal anything, you know, whether it be seeing a chiropractor or massage therapy to using marijuana as such things, as long as it's not being tinkered with and stuff being added to it.
Right, it's the additives that get everybody, but most of the time, all the growers, you know, most of them are pretty purists, you know, the old hippies and everything that absolutely just love their jobs.
Right.
They baby them and they don't fertilize them, they give them naturals. They probably feed their weed better than they feed themselves.
Yeah, wow.
And
yeah.
it's love.
Yeah, because
it's
they
medicine
believe in
with
it.
love.
Fuck yeah.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. I need to move. I wish it was that easy, you know.
Yeah, it's just the new Green Oregon Trail.
I've heard a lot of people be like, you know, if you're so pro-pot, you know, why don't you just, you know, leave the state? You know, when you have kids...
Well, that's real easy to do, just up your entire life.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Well, it's like,
I mean,
because I don't have family responsibility, job, bills, nothing, you know, like, let's just go.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
just up and leave it. Yeah, you're absolutely right, bro. I mean, it's really sad when people think that, you know, it's just that easy to skip, cross, and jump around, you know, from one state to another. I mean, people without the obligations of family, I could see being able to do that with no problem.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Then they can also afford to have it too, for that matter. They don't have any. They got all that disposable income.
Well, it says that we had a vote here in 2017, and unfortunately, whenever they're voting for anything marijuana, I've noticed the last 5 years, it's not publicly talked about. You actually have to do the research to find out that it's even going on. But the Kentucky governor expressed support for the medical marijuana, but the legislator failed in the act of 2017. So we got to wait another year before even being able to try, if not longer.
Well, can't we like have a parade? It's just a beautiful parade.
Like LGBT,
Everybody gets along.
yeah, the LGBT. I mean, when we were fighting for the ability to be able to marry and be miserable like everyone else, we were parading all over the place. Some people were doing it in negative manners, egging churches and stuff like that because some
bad apples.
Yeah, it always makes the rest of them look bad. And in this case, that's something else that we're having problems with here in the state of Kentucky. Is there's a lot of people that are pro for bringing marijuana into the system, but then you do have some eggheads that are doing other things other than just marijuana, and they're acting out, and that is making our cause look bad.
Yeah, because there is nothing worse than a 15-page drug charge that ends with "and marijuana." Like, are you serious? Like, thanks for just appreciate the nail.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, it's like LSD, cocaine,
Like,
methamphetamines, and marijuana. They're still trying to say that it's a gateway drug.
No, because stupid people will do stupid things, like, alcohol.
Yeah.
Which is perfectly legal.
Smoking tobacco is perfectly legal too.
And it's killing you.
Yeah, it is.
It's killing all of us.
I mean, we've been conditioned since we were kids, almost.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I know that I essentially was through peer pressure, stuff like that. Didn't think anything bad about it. Everybody else is doing it.
Right.
See
Yeah.
it on TV all the time.
Yeah, you see it on TV. Chances are you came from a household where at least one of the parents smoked.
Oh, yeah.
And
Both mine did.
See, yeah, I mean, and you sit there and you're around all that. Of course, you're going to end up picking up a cigarette at some point out of curiosity. And, mothers, that smoke, cigarettes or whatever while they're pregnant, that supposedly starts it at a really young age before birth, already puts it into their head so that when they do have that first cigarette when they're older, they're like, oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's just...
I don't know how true that is, though.
I don't know, but it's still going into their system. Like me, I'm not going to lie, being pregnant, I still find myself smoking cigarettes. I'm not allowed to smoke anything else or, take anything, real for that matter. And I hate having to take Tylenol, but I've, had to do it here recently. But pretty much most of my my pregnancy, it was nothing as far as taking antidepressants. I had taken myself off of all of that stuff because talking to the therapist, they're like, okay, well, you want to get pregnant because we were planning. You're not going to be able to take this stuff at least during the first term because it can affect the fetus. Well, if it can affect the fetus in the first term, it's going to affect them in the second and third. You're not just going to sit there and expect me to want to go back on that kind of medication.
Yeah, and with the chemicals, you don't know. I mean, they might think they know what the side effects are, but who knows? There might be a new one. Who knows?
And because marijuana and its study, when it comes to pregnant women and being, pregnant, there is not enough study supposedly in the states that are legalized to be able to state whether or not it does harm to the fetus.
I found something really cool because I do understand, if we're going to legalize marijuana, we need laws, even if some of them are a little silly, to make people feel better.
Yeah.
Because laws make people feel better.
Yeah.
But they're actually testing, I think it's in Colorado, an actual breathalyzer test for THC. And they will pay you to smoke weed and blow through a tube so they can figure out if they can detect marijuana in your breath. Which is really awesome, by the way. They just could pick you up, test your blood, take you home, and give you some weed, pick you up, test your blood, pay you. How cool is that?
That is actually really cool, especially it's in the name of science. It's in the name of science.
You are helping the cause. It's amazing. But it's good because then it's like, you're not driving under the influence. Somebody who's driving erratically, test them. Yeah, okay, it's a little bit BS, but let's make people feel safer.
So this is still a test, though. Like, we don't know if this is going to work.
Yeah, they're still trying to figure out if it's actually, if even possible. Like,
Well,
they're working on it.
I don't know about the breathalyzer part, but I mean like a cotton swab test or something like that. But see, the problem is like when they do it for certain companies, they don't want you smoking even cigarettes. You know, if you're going to work for them, they consider you their property.
Yeah,
So
again, probably rules.
right, which means within a 24-hour basis, if you've smoked a cigarette, they're going to be able to detect that, which wouldn't be accurate for marijuana if you're supposedly not under the influence while driving and then get swabbed. That would be incorrect.
So in a way, this science, this technology that you're helping to develop is actually inhibiting you in the long run.
It is to help the law capture me, but if we follow the law when they give us a new law, we're okay. So just don't get really high and drive around town, like order pizza, don't go to McDonald's.
Right.
Yeah.
Or wait an hour and have some chips, because you know all they're going to do is go out and get something to drink and grab something to eat and come back home.
Yeah.
Because that's what stone people do.
And you know the thing is like, I would be glad today, and I can't imagine how many people would agree with me on this. I cannot imagine how many people would trade the legalization of alcohol for the legalization of weed.
Oh, I would in a heartbeat.
Yeah, so would I.
Like, in a heartbeat.
I mean, because it's like alcohol actually does damage to our bodies, and it causes deaths, not just from over drinking or you also get into car wrecks and you hurt other people's lives. I mean, how many lives have you really heard of that have been damaged by marijuana? In all honesty. I mean, you have heard one or two.
I mean, and it really does depend on the actual person. Like, if you're not a very motivated person and you're always smoking some pot, then you're probably not going to make much of your life. But, you know, if you're drifting and you have goals and you smoke some weed, you can be James Franco. It's cool. He's a Renaissance man. He can do everything.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing, though.
He's always high.
That didn't alter the outcome. What you're saying, the smoking didn't alter that outcome.
No.
They were already either motivated or unmotivated.
Yeah.
So the weed didn't do anything in that situation.
Might have came up with a really couple of insane movies we could have blocked out of my memory, but other than
Well, it's
that,
true, but I'm saying it doesn't change his
beautiful
personality. So it's like if you're still gonna and it'll probably open your mind so that you do more interesting work too, like you're saying.
I mean, things do spark creativity. I can admit that. I do know some of the best bands, some of their best times have been during, their drug addicted days. But moderation is key.
Yeah.
You can't be a rock star on a normal day if you're a normal human being. Like, that's just you're not the exception to the rule, you're the rule. So,
well, that's what I'm saying is essentially, I mean, that's the whole point. Why most people would trade alcohol for pot, because there's really not a lot in the way of downsides.
Yeah, because I mean, you've got liver damage, kidney failure, stupid decision making, overdosing. Have you ever heard anybody overdosing on weed?
No, I have not.
Maybe falling asleep, getting really hungry.
Yeah, I was about to say
driving slowly. Nobody's died smoking weed.
No.
Somebody's died and had weed in their system. What else did they do? Is everything okay? Did you autopsy? Because it wasn't the weed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, see, while you're drunk, though, you might start beating each other to death. Exactly. Whereas if you're high, you'll just want to play hacky sack.
Exactly, or play video games, or like
hacky sack.
I know.
Do something fun or entertaining, or watch a movie. Movies are so great when you're high.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes really bad
party.
movies get better. Sometimes really bad movies get better.
Have you seen The Room? Tommy Wiseau.
No.
Oh my God, I want to see this movie so bad. I've heard how it's the worst movie ever. I want to do it. I want to watch it twice. I want to watch it sober and screwed up. So, and it's supposed to literally be the worst movie ever made. The guy can't act for anything, and he directed it and starred in it, and all this stuff. So they actually, it is such a bad movie that they are now coming out with a James Franco movie that goes over basically the behind the scenes of the movie and why it sucks so bad.
Oh, wow.
James Franco, Seth Rogen, the usual suspects in that department. Like
I
Nick
remember
Swartzen.
Yeah.
That should be either really good or very bad. But since it's already based on bad, 2 negatives make a positive, so.
That's true.
Right.
More science.
That's true.
More science.
Yes.
So
Science is magic.
Yes, it is.
better than any kind of Stone Age magic I've ever heard of.
Or church.
I mean, so was there anything else on your mind, or did you have a question for her? Or?
What was the state that you were talking about with the legalization of marijuana that made that $1 billion tax?
Oh, that would be Colorado, the smart state. The one I'll be moving to in about 6 or 7 years if I can afford it.
Hi. Colorado. Now, they were one of the original states to legalize, though, correct?
Yes, I think it was California, Colorado, and then Washington, if I got my facts straight, and I might not.
At this point, it doesn't matter.
There might be, yeah, because there's like, what, 10 states or something like that? There's a pretty decent handful that's not Kentucky.
Right.
Like Ohio, for example. I learned that one today. Like, I did
Wow,
not know
really,
that
Ohio?
Ohio is medical.
Oh,
I did not
damn.
know that.
See,
which is way closer than Colorado, by the way, guys.
Right,
Hint,
yeah.
hint, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
I guess a concern of mine would be, like, you can get a gram for $20, you know, if you're talking to the right person of good quality, you know, bud, illegally here in Kentucky. But what about the states that have it legalized? Does the price differ? Is it more? Is it less? I mean, because it's being taxed, so I'm assuming that we'd be paying more for it.
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, I think it's actually cheaper because they're actually growing it in themselves. So they're growing it, selling it. They can charge whatever they want for it. But they're charging probably like $5, $10 less than we're paying for it. Sometimes more, depending on what kind you're getting. I mean, if you get some really, really good stuff and you're used to really, really good stuff, you might be paying actually more.
Right.
And then they've got these amazing little confections of just these like lava, like moon rocks and alien pods. There are some beautiful things, and I don't even want to know how much those cost because they're beautiful.
Oh, I
They're
bet.
dusted and they're dipped in oils and rubbed in keefs and crystals, and it's beautiful. It's a concoction. It's
It would be
gorgeous.
something worth trying one day for myself.
Right? Well, we all need to do a road trip.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Get the hell out of Kentucky for a little bit.
Hell
Have something,
Preferably.
have something to talk about on one of the podcasts. Be like, oh, wow, we actually went there. This happened.
I mean, I am thinking about going to Ohio, but I didn't know. I mean, the people I'm going with probably won't want to go with me, so I'm just gonna like look, wave, and take pictures. But you know, I am actually going there for the oddity shops, but not the point.
It's like I pray.
Little distracting from the topic, but it's gonna be beautiful.
Now, there's like coffee houses or tea houses or something like that where you can actually go in, you know, drink your coffee and actually be able to smoke like hookahs and stuff like that there too. Yeah.
I've heard rumors. I've seen like drive-through windows.
Oh, wow.
Yes, like there are all kinds of little neat little things. I actually saw a designer store where everything comes in little glass tubes and it's all extraordinarily expensive, but you know, rich college kids and stuff. So, you know, the true weed snobs.
Oh, yeah.
But like you walk in and it's like Saks Fifth Avenue in there and everything's like marble and black. It's gorgeous in there.
I bet it smells amazing.
I know, right? Like I love smell-o-vision for videos like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, I love coffee. I may not be able to drink as much of it as I'd like to at this point, but I mean, the idea of having a shop where you can go in, get you some coffee, sit down, be able to take you a lunch break.
Have you ever had weed tea? It's
No,
amazing.
I haven't. I've heard of it though.
Yes, you just stick you stick a decent amount of bud in there, and I tried it with lavender. It was just lavender herbal tea, so it was lavender and marijuana, and it was beautiful, great body buzz.
Oh wow,
Beautiful. And refreshing.
See, things to look forward to when I am no longer pregnant and breastfeeding.
Which, for the record, is not why she's not smoking weed, because I did, and my daughter is brilliant.
No,
straight A student and all jazz.
Unfortunately, my OB, she told me that if I had it in my system during the time of which I had given birth, that it's very possible that the state of Kentucky would take my child. And that in itself, you know, was enough for me to obviously quit smoking and not touch it. But it is a damn shame, because I feel like that is the lesser of evils when you're talking about consuming something, whether it be in an edible form or smoking, you know, which I know smoking anything, because it's smoke, is naturally going to be bad for you. It's not that great for your health because of your lungs.
Oils, tinctures, food. Legalization makes that so much cheaper, because you can actually buy it instead of having to use a lot of street drugs to make brownies.
Yeah.
It's too expensive if you're just buying it from the baker. It's so much cheaper.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And me personally, you know, I mean, when you're looking at what you can afford, you know, compared to what you'd like to do with it and what it's going to take to actually do it, it is expensive doing the edibles. There's an area in Canada that they do nothing but edibles, a whole warehouse of different types of edibles that they ship all over the place. And I was reading on it, and of course I'm salivating now. It was worse during the time that I was reading it, because it was showing pictures, cupcakes, and you know, it's in the icing, it's in the breads, just baked bread. And I love bread. I love bread so much. I do.
I had blueberry muffins, amazing. And they were pretty, because it was that greenish blue color. It was so pretty.
The only edible I've ever had is in brownie form, which, don't get me wrong, I love brownies, but one of the things about being pregnant right now is chocolate does not agree with me because of the acid reflux, just like about everything else. I'm getting close. Get out of me. I want to go back to work. It's killing me. What about you, Brode?
What about me?
Well, don't you have any questions? I mean, you haven't been able to dabble in edibles. You just recently, you know, got back into actually following, you know, with the legalization of marijuana. And I know that there was a couple of times that you had gotten angry just knowing that it's not even legal here, with the medical benefits that you actually get from it.
Well, yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, I was at one point against marijuana.
Right.
Because when I was younger, I tried it, I didn't get anything out of it.
Right.
So I didn't see what the good was. And then later in life, because, you know, the way I was raised and stuff like that.
Right.
Just later in life, I really, one thing I hated was, for pot smokers, a lot of them flaunt it online. If you talk to people online, people really flaunt how they're going to go smoke a bowl. I got so tired of that, being in groups on like World of Warcraft, and then somebody would take a break and say, "Hey, I'm going to go light a bowl." Well, fuck you, I don't care. I get so annoyed with how constantly online people were throwing it out. You
right.
know, yeah, we'll smoke this, we'll smoke that. I don't give a fuck what you're going to smoke. Why are you announcing it to me?
Yeah.
But, you know, and then came a time when I started listening more to the facts about marijuana and just kind of being exposed to it. You know, I came across an article that once talked about how there's absolutely no real major consequences of marijuana. There's been no deaths from it. I thought, is that right? And so I would look it up, and lo and behold, it's true. There's really no known cases where marijuana has resulted in someone's death directly.
Right.
Or, you know, does it cause car crashes and shit like that?
Yeah, people ain't looking for their next fix trying to rob a bank to get it.
So yeah, and it's like, I started realizing, I started finding out that people around me, people that I knew for a long period of time, was smoking weed
privately.
And there was nothing. Yeah, it was not doing anything to them. And I just eventually became educated into the fact that it really isn't as bad as I was made to believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I switched my stance on it even a couple years before I started smoking it.
Right.
So I've had a pro-marijuana stance now for a couple of years at least.
Right, before even, getting into the groove of trying it. And well, what about, like, you suffer from panic attacks? Does that do anything for you, as far as, like, do you still have high-strung anxiety? Explain a little bit about that.
Well, I actually started suffering from panic attacks after my grandmother passed away.
Mm.
And I don't know what the association was with that. I just, at first, I started having dreams and that she was coming back, and I was like, why is she here? She's dead. But nobody else in my dreams would understand that.
Right.
Like, no, she's fine. She's here. She's alive. What are you talking about? And it just drove me nuts, I guess, in a way. Because I'm like, oh, and so the sleep exhaustion from constantly not being able to sleep and the night terrors that ensued, I just started to have panic attacks.
Wow.
It's like, yeah, I know. I don't understand really if it was her death that did it or what the deal was. But so I've dealt with panic attacks for a couple years now. And starting a marijuana has really helped alleviate that. I haven't had a true panic attack. I've felt the early signs of one, but when I'm smoking, it's like my brain's just kind of massaging that part away, saying, "No, man, it's cool. It's cool. There's no need to freak out, man. Everything's all right."
Absolutely.
So I don't even know if I can panic on it.
That's amazing, considering you have heart problems. So when you go through panic attacks, it jumpstarts that heart, makes it motorboat, if you will. I mean, and that's not good for you.
Oh, the atrial fibrillation, yeah.
Right. What about you? Have you suffered from any type of psychological disorientation or?
I know I get edgy. Not like anxious, but kind of like I think I mainly just have an attitude problem.
Yeah.
And it's a great attitude adjustment without somebody punching me in the face. So it really does help. Like I start feeling like it's like, okay, I'm gonna get angry real quick. I'm gonna go smoke real quick. I'll be right back. I come back. I'm all like, hey guys, how's it going? I feel great. What do we want to do?
Right.
And it feels great.
So
it just mellows you out.
So for you can consider it like it helps with your motivation. It helps you stick with the game that you already have going on.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it over people that have bipolar. Okay, now I know that some people actually have bipolar and it's a real thing. I know it exists.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure that I can make up a statistic like 85% of the time is all BS. And it's just, I don't know what's wrong with you. You just got, you got some issues. You get angry sometimes. You're pretty normal. I think you're bipolar. They definitely need to be prescribed medical marijuana because at least it's not some kind of psychotropic drug that's going to like dull your senses, make you feel like a zombie, and probably not work.
Well, absolutely. I mean, since I was 13, when they had actually diagnosed me with bipolarism, they had kept changing one drug to another, trying to figure out what's going to quote-unquote work with me.
But it's got to be every 3 months because it takes a month for it to even start working in the first place, so you build up something in your system. When marijuana works instantaneously in any form you take it, except for edibles, that takes up to an hour. But all the actual medical purposes for anxiety would probably be like an inhaling or an oil or even a pill if they start getting real fancy about it. Just THC in a pill instead of making their own, and instantaneously start working.
So we're talking about safer all the way across the board. This isn't just something that they're trying on people with physical ailments, but also for mental and emotional ailments too. This is, I'm not going to say this is, I'm not going to be like Marley and be like, oh, I got a gash on my foot, let me pack it with some marijuana and I should be good.
Right. That's fair. I mean, that man believed in his stuff though.
Yes, he did.
But yes, it is not a cure-all. Sometimes it's just a treatment, but it's a safer, healthier treatment than some of the chemicals that they're going to shoot through your body that may or may not work. Or if you take one medication and it gives you a side effect, we need to take 2 more medications to counteract that.
That is what I'm talking about. My mom is going through that, and she's one of those people, she believes so heavily in her doctor, she will not seek additional advice from another doctor.
That hurts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's scary. It is. It's scary, especially when you see her have her episodes, and she has seizure-like activity as well, and then she's also got all these medications on top of it.
A little bit of vaporized oil, calm her right down.
Right. Absolutely.
Or she could take a handful of pills. You know, whatever Kentucky lets us do.
Yeah. Come on, Kentucky. Come on. I can't even smoke right now, and I'm still on board with this pro-marijuana thing.
Well, I mean, if we were pro-marijuana and we were legal, then they wouldn't be trying to take your kid away for not smoking or for smoking. So
no, I'd be one of those that would be monitored so that they could see, you know, what it does or doesn't do.
Like, I will donate my pregnancy to chemical or to marijuana trials. Sure, let's find out what happens. Because it worked just fine for me.
I quit smoking cigarettes for 2.5 months before I had to quit smoking marijuana. I consider marijuana an exit drug. You know, it helped me with the cigarettes. It also helped me during the time 3 months before even, you know, in conception, you know, to get off of all of the fucking medication that my therapist had me on.
Yeah, because there's nothing worse than being curled up in a little ball going through detox sober.
Right.
It sucks.
Yeah.
I tried it with the first time I tried quitting cigarettes. I literally slept for like 3 days to get cigarettes out of my system because I was intolerable without them.
Right.
And yeah, like I think after a few hours of just, I'm like, no, you know what? Forget this. I called my guy and I'm like, dude, yeah, I can't quit both of them at the same time.
Right.
And I had, yeah, it was bad.
And Broad, I mean, you know, when you drink alcohol of any kind, what's the first thing you want with your alcohol?
Me?
Yeah.
More alcohol.
Other than other than alcohol, what craving do you get when you were drinking alcohol?
I don't remember craving anything.
Cigarettes, man.
Oh
man, I became a chain smoker. I could, you know, and I'm not even a heavy drinker, but if I'm drinking, I gotta have my pack of cigarettes right there.
I smoked anyway, so I didn't get anything new out of that.
Oh no, anytime I would drink, I buy an extra pack of cigarettes. Like, oh, I only need one for today, but I'm gonna need one for tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because you just smoke.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever done that.
Next time that you drink, watch yourself, because I seen you the last time that you were drinking, and you smoked a lot of cigarettes. A lot.
Well, I don't doubt that at all.
I always assumed it's because I couldn't taste the nicotine anymore because the alcohol was washing that taste away. So I just assumed that I hadn't smoked a cigarette yet.
I would get that burning sensation in my chest where it's telling you, no, you need it now. You need that cigarette. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's... No. What?
No, I was just going to say, I always smoked. When I drink, I'm always smoking. But I'm always smoking when I'm not drinking.
That's fair.
I like this. Hey, you know, I like to intersperse my smoking, not just cigarettes though, because I like the black and mild.
Yeah.
Cigars.
And they last longer too.
Or what I guess they now called cigarillos. I don't understand that. I don't get it. I don't like it. It's dumb. But yeah, so I'll smoke less because I'll smoke 1 or 2 of those.
Right. And if you don't have 1 or 2 of those, you're going through, you know.
Yes, that's probably true. If I don't have cigars, then I will probably consume a lot of cigarettes.
Oh, they taste better than cigarettes.
I'm gonna start talking like Morty now, or Rick. I mean.
Oh yeah.
And burping while I'm talking. And it's going to be great, Morty. It's going to last forever. You're going to love it. And everybody's going to love it. And everybody's going to come see it. It's going to be a great thing. Let me promise you that.
Now say that with legalization of marijuana to go with it.
Oh, we're going to have weed, Morty. It's going to be great. And everybody's going to have it. And everybody's going to be able to smoke it whenever they want. Morty, it's going to be fabulous. It's going to go on forever. You can go to love it, Morty. You're not going to get enough of it. You're going to smoke it. You're going to eat it. You're going to stuff it in your asshole. You're going to enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
You're going to roll around in it. You're going to liquefy it. Just pour it on your head like syrup, Morty. You're not going to have enough. It's not enough to eat it. It's not enough to drink it. You're going to have to stiff it in, Morty. You're going to have to get it by osmosis, Morty.
I just want to stick it up my nose and smell that smell all day.
Well, at least you're not saying stick it up your ass, Morty.
Do you know how many times Rick had Morty stick the crazy shit in their asses? Remember those scenes?
I love Rick and Morty. I guess it's... And you do so great with that. You need to do that more often. It's gonna be great, Alex. It's gonna be fucking awesome.
It's gonna be amazing, Alex. You have no idea this gonna last forever. Want to keep it going? 7 more seasons, Alex.
Yes. IV that shit.
And nobody's gonna stand in our way, Alex. We'll make sure to destroy everyone that gets in our way, Alex. Nothing's gonna stop us. We'll smoke forever. Trust me, Donnie, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be great. Weed for days, weed for miles. Weed for planets, for galaxies wide.
Sounds like a land of opportunity to me.
Right. The money. The amount of money just selling it.
We're gonna open our eyeballs and there's gonna be weed, Morty.
Hey, green equals green. It is green, and it's good for green because it makes oxygen, guys.
It
Yeah,
does.
that does.
When you know.
Do you remember how much it is? It's supposed to be more than an average tree lifespan.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact science, but I know that if we have more marijuana plants than we have trees, which, you know, with deforestation, that's going to be possible one day. You know, we still need oxygen.
Right.
Yeah. I don't see corn producing as much oxygen as a tree.
No. Well, now, like, even in the states where it's legal, do you have to have, like, a card or, I guess, a green card or something to grow it for it to be legal, or can you just grow it?
I think it's almost definitely. I think it all has to be in some kind of checks and balances. Like, you have to have a grower's permit, or if it's personal use, I think you have to have a card, like, you know, how you have a CDL license and, you know, all that stuff. I think it's like, you know, you can grow up to a certain amount depending on the states.
Right.
Or you can just smoke it. Or eat it.
Well, I mean, that's a good way for them to, you know, keep track of what is what, I guess, and as far as...
Yeah, there's some places where there's, you know, people trying to ruin it for everybody, like by growing it privately on their own. And the farmers actually had to get with their local legislation and actually make an agreement like, hey, if me, the grower, catches, you know, you growing it illegally, I'm going to come along, I'm going to talk to you, I'm going to pull your stuff up, I'm going to yell at you, and then I'm going to call the police because you're trying to mess it up for me.
Right.
So don't do it. We can be cool, and I will sell to you, and all this other good stuff. I will find you a doctor that will give you a medication card, but do not grow it without a permission because you're going to screw it up for all of us.
Yeah.
Like, pay attention to the laws. It's happening slowly but surely. Be patient. Wait your turn. Don't screw it up. That's all we got to do. And, you know, knowledge is power, so maybe, like, you know, knowledge bomb everybody when we can vote again. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that we lacked this time around was education in the voters. And that is something that has to end. We need to educate. People need to be aware and ready to go out to the polls and make the changes that are necessary and not freaking stay home.
Yeah, but they also got to know about it. Yeah, they got to know that it's going on, too. It's hard to vote on something if you don't know that it's trying to be passed.
Yeah, because, I mean, I don't generally watch the news, so I never know when anything's going on. And there are people like that, or just people that just kind of sitting there playing Call of Duty.
Well, see, that's why it's so important to stay educated about it. Because then, you know, you keep in contact with the right sources, and you'll have access to the information that you need when a bill comes up. You know, where it's, what it's going to do, when it's going to be signed, you know, when's it going to be voted on.
Which means you have to register to vote.
Well, yeah, being registered to vote is a must for sure.
Can't just walk in there and go, yeah, man, I want to vote for weed, because you need to register first. Remember that.
Whoa, did you know that the state of Kentucky often is one of the 5 U.S. states with a cannabis crop estimated to be worth over $1 billion annually, which I guess would be yearly? We have the soil. We should have been one of the first fuckers to legalize it because of the amount that we'd be able to do in crops.
It's already our #1 cash crop. We should tax it.
Right.
But see, the thing is, though, is that big tobacco doesn't want that to happen.
I could see that.
I'm a lady. I'm not going to say what big tobacco could do.
Shove it.
Eat
I'm
one.
not a lady.
Eat one.
It's, well, you know, we're using our tax dollars for, you know, these big-ass helicopters to come swooping down using their fucking radars and
Wake
shit
me
to
up in the
look
middle of
for
the
it.
afternoon when I'm trying to take a nap.
Right. And shaking our house the other day when we were doing the other podcast. And I'm sorry, that, you know, that's coming out of our pockets.
Oh, yeah. I mean, fuel.
Yeah.
Okay, it was a one-time fee, all right? Buy the helicopter, cool. Fuel.
Yeah.
That stuff's a daily commodity there. You need it every day if you want to fly that.
So the state is willing to pay and use our tax dollars to sit there and look for illegal crop growth. Unless they're being paid off.
They're also willing to charge us to feed our poor guys that are stuck selling weed illegally because it's not legal. Legalize it. Get some of those guys. Okay, not the ones with 15 pages and marijuana, just the marijuana.
Yeah.
Get those guys out.
Yeah.
Save some money, overcrowding in jails, yada, yada, yada. Save tax dollars by making tax
I'm glad
dollars.
that you said that about the overcrowding in jails. Now, you do realize that is another problem with getting marijuana. Because the prisons are a for-profit industry.
Yes.
So they need their jails full. They like them full.
We should put them full of real criminals.
Yes, they should.
Like meth heads.
Yes, they should, but
Instead
unfortunately...
of letting them out.
That's about 3 months, isn't it?
Unfortunately, see, it's much easier to go after something that everybody enjoys, rich and poor, but that the poor can't protect themselves. So they go after the poor.
Yep.
And so you have poor people that have smoked a little bit of weed, got busted with a little bit of weed on them, you know, maybe sold a little bit to make some money on the side or whatever.
How much is a felony now? Like, you have to be caught with up to so much for it to be considered a felony.
That is a good question.
I do not know the answer to that.
Well, one of our informationalists,
out?
Was just, you know, telling me that, you know, the average span of a weed plant is 90 to 125 days. So I'd say about 3 months, you know, it takes for it to produce what it's going to produce, correct?
Right.
All right. So you're looking at, if you're growing outside three times a year, you know, for, you know, a full span, assuming that you don't have to rip that shit up and dispose of it.
Fair.
If you're growing inside, though, you'd be able to do 4 times a year. That's 4 growth periods that a plant can go through.
And if you know magic, I mean science, you can actually make that shorter depending on botany. Like,
yeah.
I mean, not much shorter because you still have things that needs to grow, but, you know, a little bit of science and you can actually shorten that time. Or pick it early, it won't be as strong, but if you need to start up real quick,
right,
then you make it take its time in a couple months.
Yeah.
Once you started. Because you even have options there.
Right.
It's just, I derailed. Go ahead.
I totally did too, actually. No, I totally did too. What were we looking up? I'm not even...
Felonies?
Oh, yes, thank you.
Felonies, okay.
How much...
Do you have info on it? Okay, one of our correspondents brings in some news for us.
Okay,
Alex.
so we're looking at less than 8 ounces for a first offense is a misdemeanor. Incarceration. Thank you. Incarceration is up to a year. Max fine is about $500. Yeah, ouch.
$500?
Less than 8 ounces as a subsequent offense, which would be like the second time that you got caught with it, is automatically a felony, and you'd be facing 1 to 5 years, and you're looking at about $10,000 for max fine. 8 ounces to 5 pounds for a first offense is automatically a felony. You're looking at 1 to 5 years, $10,000. 8 ounces to 5 pounds as a second offense is a felony, and you're looking at 5 to 10 years, $10,000 max fine. 5 pounds or more for a first offense, it's a felony, 5 to 10. And again, $10,000 max fine.
And I'm not even sure if I want to compare that with meth charges or heroin, because I am sure it is ridiculously low in comparison. Like, honestly, I have a really terrible feeling that I could probably get away with meth charges before I could get away with marijuana charges.
All right, you gonna...
Well,
I'm actually scared to compare that, because
look that up. Well,
I have a feeling it's going to be stupid.
No wonder Kentucky does not want
Personal
to legalize marijuana anymore. Look at how much in fines alone that they're making off of people that are being busted trafficking the shit. I mean, and then the time of being in prison, which not everyone that gets these felonies go to prison, because they're getting the money through the charge. 5
minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know.
Oh. Break time?
Yeah, 5 minutes of break. I'm just trying not to interrupt the podcast. Just to say that.
I am interrupting your broadcast.
Go ahead with what you were saying.
Well, yeah, no, but that makes perfect sense as to why Kentucky doesn't want to legalize it, plus the money that they're getting from the tobacco company.
Yeah, but do you really think that the jails and everything are actually getting $1 billion a year, and that's illegally?
No.
Can you imagine how much we'd make if we legalized it? You think we wouldn't double our numbers with the beautiful soil we have out here?
Yeah, I know we would.
We could grow almost anything.
But you have certain people that have their hands in other people's pockets, such as the tobacco industry, which runs here.
And the pharmaceutical company, which is your main concern.
Yes, and they are fighting this pro-marijuana thing tooth and nail, even still in the states where it's legal. I mean, look at California. They legalized it, then took it back, and then re-legalized it. All because, I gotta sell my pills. Oh no, you're gonna take it all away from me.
I guess we didn't learn anything from Prohibition.
Right? Like, you don't take away people's freedom to have fun. Take it away and give it back. Take it away and give it back. You just stick with it.
Man, Amsterdam is the way to go. People need to follow in that footsteps. You know, legalization of prostitution, but they do it in a way where the parties are clean, people are being tested, everything is being done properly. And then you also have your tea houses. You can smoke your weed. Hell, there was even
all health regulated, so
Yeah.
people don't die from it.
Right.
Like, and mainly just the first part you were talking about.
Yeah. Well, and most drugs there are actually legal, and it keeps the crime rate so low. And a lot of the reasons that they have things legalized, most of the people other than marijuana and prostitution don't even partake in the other drugs that is illegal here.
Yeah, it's more of a tourist attraction than anything.
Yeah, it really is. Red District.
I have heard that Amsterdam is a lovely place to visit.
Oh, yeah.
As often as you can.
I hear it's like Disneyland for children, or for grown-ups, though.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I bet the roller coasters are nice. Well, not only that, it is beautiful countryside, too. I actually looked at pictures, and it really is all around really beautiful. I mean, they have their own marijuana stock and everything.
And tulips.
And tulips. That I did not know about the tulips.
And it's like the Amsterdam, Holland area, like, tulips. It's a very lovely place, you know, windmills, tulips, you know, like, awesome attractions.
Right.
You know.
Well.
Have to go there.
And history.
Absolutely have to go there.
I hate to cut things off. We will be back after the short break.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
You got 2 minutes. You are jumping the gun.
Wait, hold on. Why is our time so inaccurate up in here?
Okay. That's what we're going by right there.
Okay, so we're going... Alright.
1 o'clock. 1 minute.
1 minute.
7:10. Well, I guess we might as well now.
I was about to say 1 minute.
Everybody's anticipating it now.
Right.
Alright, so, it's been a great talk. So we're going to be talking about news and other stuff like that in the second hour. I'm hoping you'll join us
Yeah.
to hear some of the crazy shit goes on in the world.
I don't have anywhere else to go.
Hey.
All right, so this will be about 15 minutes, give or take. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
Peace.
And we are back from break. And have any interesting goings on in the last couple of minutes?
Well, I found out that in states other than Kentucky where you have to spend like $7 for a pack of cigarettes, the tobacco industry is only spending 6 cents to make a pack.
And I thought pizza was ridiculous.
It's all in the vice taxing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is.
You know, taxing your candy bars and your sodas.
But you gotta think, too, you know, the tobacco company is being taxed outrageously as well. You know, they're only making so much of a profit off of a pack of cigarettes. The rest of this is going to the state itself.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's all about, I mean, 90% of the price of a pack of cigarettes is going straight to the state or...
Right.
Not to mention lawyers and stuff and their lobbyists and all that trying to make sure that they're not, you know, illegal.
Right. Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if there were subsidies for the tobacco company. I mean, that wouldn't shock me at this point.
No. No.
Did you have anything you wanted to go with first?
No, I was actually going to ask you, as far as, like, are we touching base with news right now?
Yeah, we're going to tackle some news, and I'd like to know our guest reactions to them. So, and of course, we've already on the show, we've already spoken about Governor Matt Bevin of Kentucky, and he's already done some pretty horrific things, but something came up on my feeds over the weekend. But before I get into that, I want to ask you, and we talked briefly about it
Right.
before we came on the show. So I was wondering if you have any opinions, what your thoughts are on Governor Bevin, as far as, like, you know, Mr. Answers crime with prayer.
I think it seems a little ridiculous. Probably should answer crime with punishment, but you know, I guess religion won't work either.
Well, I mean, education is really the best way to fight crime. Education, jobs. If people had jobs,
Yeah, jobs are huge. People would stop robbing people if they had, you know, jobs.
they actually had money.
Right.
And not just the jobs, but actually making enough money to survive on.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times they just don't. You know, you have a family of 4 or 5. You're not making enough off of even sometimes 2 incomes.
I just have a
support the
family of
kids.
just me and my daughter, and it's almost impossible to live. I mean, I'm lucky and I have, like, a support network, but some people don't have that.
Right.
No, they don't. Exactly. So, I mean, the whole point of establishing the government in the first place was really to help take care of us in ways that, you know, individually we couldn't do. You know, being able to form a military, being able to create these checks and balances for government, etc. The social programs that we use, like the police and the schools, they're supposed to be for the betterment of our society.
Yeah, I was almost certain that when we went wet to sell alcohol that we would get, like, you know, better school or, you know, computers in the school. Like, you know, some kids get laptops when they go to school. Like,
Yeah.
I had a fundraise for a Wii, and we spent all the money on, like, 3 games and 4 consoles that the kids had to share, and we raised enough to get a dozen. What happened to the rest of the money?
That's a good
you know,
question.
we're supposed to be taxing the alcohol, and it's supposed to be going where? I don't know.
Yeah, and if you remember correctly, too, the churches were fighting it tooth and nail.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's because they didn't want to get caught at the liquor store with their friends.
Well, so Matt Bevin has come along again in the news, and now there is I don't think I have the article up anymore, but essentially what happened is that we are down to our last abortion clinic in the state of Kentucky. Mm-hmm. We actually only have one.
Where's that located?
I didn't get the location, but my guess is in Louisville.
Okay.
If I could just pull up the article again. But, I mean, just take a look at this guy. This guy seems to have a track record of trying to implement, well, frankly, Christian Sharia law, if you think about it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's a separation of church and state.
That no one seems to be paying attention to in this state. That's a major problem.
I mean, we had enough issues with that chick that wouldn't sign marriage license. And it was her job.
Kim Davis?
Yeah, and just sign a little piece of paper and shut your mouth. Do your job.
Mm-hmm.
Or quit.
Yeah.
Run in a gas station or something, you know?
You were right, it is in Louisville. The abortion clinic is in Louisville.
And a federal judge has issued that there's supposed to be people hanging outside of that clinic, and they're supposed to be preventing protesters from approaching. Now,
you're looking at a lot of violent tempers going off. People are going to get hurt.
So wait, there's anti-protesters trying to fight the protesters?
I don't really understand what exactly is going on with that. I mean, I don't like the idea of preventing. I mean, protest is something that's guaranteed to us.
Yeah, I mean, as long
It's
as we
our
do
right.
it peacefully.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
Underline peacefully, circle it. It's not in quotation marks. It's not a suggestion. It is a stop sign, not a
Right.
suggestion.
Yes.
Peaceful assembly.
Yep.
We're supposed to have that right. But now, over the past year, Governor Matt Bevin, a Republican, who calls himself unapologetically pro-life. Just those words right there together, unapologetically pro-life. So he's blocked a new Planned Parenthood clinic for performing abortions, shuttered EMW satellite clinic in Lexington, and threatened to close the existing one in Louisville. Backed by the American Civil Liberties Union, the clinic has sued the state, and a trial is set for September. So it looks like he really wants to get this one shut down. At least the ACLU of Kentucky is doing something about this. But I don't know.
Well, you know that if that one's shut down, we'll be the first state in the United States to not have any type
of clinics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
only state in the union. Think about that for a second.
And I don't care. You can be pro-life all you want to. All right. There are many different factors for the reason why a woman would, have to use this clinic for an abortion.
But you're also pro you don't have to go either.
Right.
Oh, wait, that's choice. My bad.
Pro-choice. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Pro-choice.
You don't have to abort. You just have to have the option.
So he's trying to put the Bible in the school for social studies purposes, quote unquote. And now he's trying to take the last abortion clinic that we have in the state of Kentucky. But he's going to show up at a cockfight where he's going to speak. But he's not there for the cockfighting.
Yeah, the rally he showed up to.
Yeah.
Where he was...
I just want to say the word rally is never a good situation.
Especially when you're mixing it with a bunch of rednecks. And trust me, I can say that term loosely because I am one.
You are, my dear, a contradiction.
I am. Thank God I wasn't completely raised here, only half of it.
Yeah. Well, in 1978, Kentucky had 17 abortion providers. And now they are down to 1. And there are 6 other states right now that have just 1. North Dakota, South Dakota, Missouri, Mississippi, Wyoming, and West Virginia. So...
West Virginia is not a shock.
No, well, no, not really.
True.
But this is going to be the one state that's going to have none because of Mr. Governor Matt Bevin, who has been campaigning against this probably since he got elected in 2015. So that means he's probably in there. What are governorships? Are they 4 years?
Say again?
Governorships, are they for 4 years?
I do believe so, but then they can be reelected.
I think as many
Right.
times as you want.
But that's the problem. This guy needs to go.
Oh, yeah. Tell that to all the closed-minded individuals, though, that live here that only want to hear what they want to hear and fuck the facts.
So when he became governor, and then the Republicans took over the House in November after Trump's riding on his coattails. Their first order of business in January was to pass 2 measures restricting abortion. One banning the procedure after 20 weeks into a pregnancy, and the other requiring doctors to narrate ultrasounds in detail, regardless of patients' wishes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's what they accomplished.
Doesn't that mentally and emotionally,
Torture?
Yes, torture the patient. That's cruel and unusual punishment.
And it's 4 years, 2 terms, by the way.
4 years, 2 terms max? Yeah, that makes sense. So the ACLU is challenging the ultrasound measure on the grounds that it violates doctors' First Amendment rights. In citing it, Mr. Bevin vowed to, quote, end this scourge that is the taking of innocent life, adding Kentucky will lead the way.
But doctors shall do no harm, and emotional trauma is harm.
Yes, it is. But then they could counterclaim that and say that they're doing harm to the fetus,
who has no legal rights except for their parent or legal guardian.
This is true. No, you're absolutely true. But, the only reason that this subject is at all of interest to me is, you have women that are being raped that, end up being pregnant due to the rape. You just, okay, yeah, let's adoption, because that's where we're putting all the rest of the children that end up with no parents. Not every child that gets put up for adoption gets adopted.
Because rich people don't adopt American kids.
No, they go off into China and Korea and India and adopt, different, breed of human, if you will. It's like a fucking puppy shelter.
So at 7:30 in the morning every Tuesday through Saturday, Kentucky's intensifying battle over abortion plays out in downtown Louisville along the sidewalk in front of that final clinic.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's what this is all leading to when it came to that article about the federal judge signing for people to be there. Obviously, there's, like you had said, there's a lot of tensions going on, so we've got to do what we can to protect. Because, I mean, we've seen what happens at these clinics. We've seen people go in and get mad and blow something up or shoot someone down. So, peaceful protest, I don't think is what they're really looking for.
Worst, best case scenario is tear gas. Worst case scenario, someone's going to die or more.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Well,
goodness.
Unfortunately, they're not police that's guarding it though. I think it's volunteers.
That makes it better.
The pictures I saw, it was actually all women lined up. So they didn't look like they were wearing any kind of
other
police
than
uniforms
vests
or anything
yeah,
like
no,
that.
they were wearing vests and they were pretty much there to help the woman and or family to enter safely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because they're getting yelled at, spit on, things thrown at them. Name called. It's she's going through enough. Just leave her alone.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. This is a traumatizing time for anyone. Emotionally, there's got to be someone, for support. And, luckily, there are the women that are standing outside waiting to, help these people in. But there's only so many of them. What happens if they become so many protesters that end up becoming violent? A lot of innocent people are going to be hurt.
Oh, yeah. Trampled. It's going to be bad.
Yeah. Very bad. It's enough to concern me. I don't want to see anyone hurt. That's the last thing that I want on, as far as, especially this goes under, someone else's word stating, well, we need to get rid of the filth here in Kentucky. No one actually knows this guy. Because if they knew what he what his career has been, he wouldn't have even been voted into office to begin with. All right?
Knowledge is power.
It is. Knowledge is power. And I think that's another reason why having this podcast is so great, is so that, you know, the ones that are listening, especially here in Kentucky, they're able to educate themselves. Yeah, you can hear it on any podcast, but go look it up. You know?
See if we're lying.
Yeah.
Please, prove us wrong.
Yeah, and we want that. We do.
Fix our mistakes. We want to give you information.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I was just saying, you know, in Franklin, Ohio, an attorney is speaking for an 18-year-old woman who is accused of burying her infant alive outside her family's home. And they say that she's a very good person who has worked with disabled children. Yeah. Wow. First off, she wasn't in a hospital, obviously, when she had this baby.
No, they would have not let that happen.
No. And the baby was born alive. It wasn't a stillborn. So it is a criminal act.
It was attempted murder.
Right. And now, see, if she would have went to an abortion clinic, if this was a baby that she ended up not wanting in the beginning during the first stages of, you know, her being pregnant, then this news right here, even though it's in Ohio, it's still close to home. I mean, hello, Kentucky, Ohio Valley.
Right?
I mean...
Ohio River?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I made the comment earlier that, you know, idiots to an extent put a smile on my face, but they also make me shake my head.
Oops, you're not supposed to be...
If you have COPD...
There you go, I got it.
If you have COPD, get an inhaler. If you live in Kentucky, move the fuck out.
Oh, speaking of Kentucky, I apologize because I didn't know you were going to switch the topic before I'd gotten this last piece of Kentucky BS out of the way.
Right.
So recently I found out that speaking of governors for Kentucky, a former governor who is now state senator, Julian Carroll, he'd served from 74 to 79 as governor of Kentucky. He's being accused of propositioning and groping a man back in 2005.
Oh, wow. Is he a Republican or a Democrat?
He's Republican.
Oh, wow.
Does that surprise you?
No, it just makes me giggle.
Yeah, a lot of times it's stuff like this because they fight it so hard. They put up this huge front about no, not gay, no, etc.
Well, occasionally people literally just feel their opinions are reflections upon themselves. So, a lot of homophobes, well, sorry guys. Just stop lying to yourself.
They purposely put their blinders on so that they only see and hear what they want and then nothing else.
Well, most closed-minded people do. That's why you gotta listen to more than one genre of music.
Yeah.
Well, now, see, here's the thing, though. This is... he's getting busted for something, of course, I think should be illegal, though. But, nonetheless, it still shows, because as far as I know, they're not underage. He's just propositioning some guy. Let me see, hold on. I should probably read that part. So I had not read that part before. Carroll told Jason Geis he would help him get into art school, according to the report by Spectrum News. But instead of helping Geis get into school, Carroll propositioned him for sex.
Hey, little man, you want to touch my penis?
So, it doesn't say anything about them being a minor.
It definitely would, I think, if it was, though.
Yeah, hopefully that shit would have been, like, in bold print at the top.
So I'm guessing college art school?
So it just says sexual misconduct. So, I mean... But it makes sense, you know, it goes to the whole thing about Republicans and how they try to paint this image of wholesome families.
Oh, yes, back to great American values and wholesome families and...
Men that never cheat on their wives and women that stay at home, cook, clean, and have babies.
Men were definitely cheating on their wives in the 40s and 50s. They were just smart enough not to talk about it and eat their emotions.
This is true. They also didn't have social media the way we have it today, and there's a lot of people that have a cell phone, and if you have a cell phone nowadays, you have a camera.
You have a camera, you have video, you have everything.
Okay, so back to your story. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no, you're fine. Warren County prosecutor David Fornshell said Friday the charge was based on evidence that the infant was born alive and was not a stillborn baby. The criminal complaint said that the infant died on May 7th, and the remains were found July 14th, about 40 miles north of Cincinnati.
So that's been a while then. It's been a few weeks.
Yeah. This is just the first that I've actually seen of it. So
that's a whole month of May almost, and the entire month of June, and half of July. So we're talking 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Or so.
Yeah. Investigators believe that the remains have been buried for about 10 to 12 weeks. According to the criminal complaint, Richardson did recklessly cause the death of another or the unlawful termination of another's pregnancy. Wow.
Okay.
That's Titanic.
Yeah, but and then the attorney Charles Rittgers, Rittgers.
Probably Rittgers.
Rittgers told reporters Friday's hearing that Richardson is a college-bound high school cheerleader and is by all means a very good person.
Well, I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know what being a cheerleader has anything to do with what they did to this kid.
That's what I want to know. I'm like, what's that have to do with?
She's blonde, right?
Yeah, she's blonde. Matter of fact, here.
She's pretty blonde white girl. Yeah.
Pretty blonde
cheerleading
white
matters.
girl.
Cheerleading matters. We all know that for her, cheerleading matters, and it's really the only thing she's got going for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
Ever.
Probably.
But to sit there and bury your own child, how heartless. I mean, now, there are problems that women have. I've done a lot of reading up on it.
Postpartum depression, all this other stuff. But
look what Casey Anthony did to her kid.
And the women in the room go, oh.
Yeah.
Her.
Oh, man, that just shivers.
Yeah, so this is, I don't know, this is not as bad as that, of course, but...
Well, some people just don't need to have children.
No, you're
and
right.
I really wish there was a way to screen that, and I'm pretty sure that that's illegal. So, yeah, still needs to be done.
No, I
Pre-screening
really
for
don't
childcare.
think just anyone should be able to breed.
No.
I really don't. And maybe that's going to get us in the doghouse for saying it. But honestly, I don't think we should all be able to breed. Because I'm so sick of these religious families that end up having 10, 15, 20 kids.
And none of them can act right. Or running around places acting like fools.
They don't end up contributing anything to society most of the time.
But just because they're churchgoers, they should breed and mass populate.
They have more rights than I do.
Right.
As well as a cheerleader.
I think there needs to be an IQ test done. I think that health and wellness is another thing that needs to be looked at, when it comes to breeding. And yes, some of it would be considered unfair or unjust or against human rights.
But if everybody's having the test, it's this exact same test with the exact same stipulations, and everybody's getting it done, it's not just one group or another.
Yeah.
Shut up.
And we're not talking about tying your tubes. I mean, you can come back in another year or so, retake the test. Because mental status changes over the years. You become more mature. You become, more...
Sometimes you're not ready, and then the next year you're like, yeah, I got this.
Right.
I decided to put in my money in a 401k and invest, and then, I'm doing a lot better now.
Right. I have my own home. I've had a job for so long. Things that you need to look at. I mean, things that they look at when you're adopting a fucking pet, for crying out loud.
Exactly. Exactly. And then you've got children having children, and their children are having children before grandma's 40.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not even sure if that makes math, but it's still happening.
Yes, it is. I actually, working in retail, you know, you talk to a lot of different types of people. I'm sure you're well aware.
Because you got a 15-year-old having a 15-year-old, and by the time she's 30, her 15-year-old's having a 15-year-old. And then guess what? You're a grandma at 40.
Great grandma.
That does make math.
Yeah, it does.
That's sad.
Yeah. Great grandma.
Oh, and let's idolize them by giving them their own TV show on music television, and we're not even going to get into that rant.
Oh, no. No, I feel the exact same way. I do.
16 and pregnant.
Oh. Oh, that I can't watch that show. I mean, I literally sat down and tried to, and the only thing I seen was, it's okay. It don't matter how old you are. Go on ahead. Fuck your boyfriend, have kids. Because your boyfriend's not going to be there later on.
Oh, no. In my 20s, I was terrified that the father of my child was going to be too young to have a child and be like, I'm pregnant. I'm single. It just worked out well for me.
And my mom's taking care of my kid. I mean, and that's what you see on this show, 16 and Pregnant, is it's her parents and sometimes the parents of the father that are financially taking care of and supporting this kid.
Right, because they're too young to have jobs.
Right. They're too young for a lot of things. They're still going through the change called life.
Right?
The chemical
I can't even
imbalances.
drive, but I got to take my baby to the doctor.
Oh, God, you ain't lying. Oh, that just gives me a headache. I don't wish that on anyone, either.
No.
I mean, you can only blame so much on the parents when it comes to stuff like that, because a parent cannot 24 hours a day keep a legit eye on what the kid's doing, especially when they're supposed to be in school, but then they're fucking in the locker room, or they're leaving property and going and fucking elsewhere.
But
I mean,
on the other end, if you teach your child to be a decent human being and morals and exactly, and like a set of standards and rules to live by, not just do what I say or not, but I mean actually teach them to be better people.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to watch them 24/7.
Right.
And it's harder with the more kids you have. If you're responsible and have just a set amount of children you can manage instead of 10 or 15, like some people do.
Right.
Mormons, Catholics, who have all their moral guidance in place, by the way, whose children are Catholic schoolgirl. That's not an innocent person, by the way.
No. No.
You have one or two manageable children, and then you're like, okay, I got this. I can manage a couple more. And then do it.
Yeah.
Or let's have kids 8 months apart.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I want 15 kids, and they're all 8 months apart.
And that goes back to, at least we're not China, where, at one point you were only allowed 2 kids, and if your firstborn was a child, if your firstborn was a female, you could legally have that baby killed, so you could try for a boy and hope that your first, born is a son, and then you can try for another one, and then it's messed up.
I'm pretty sure it used to be that you could only have one child.
In the beginning, I'm sure it was. Now, they just lifted that ban not long ago, though, to the point where now it's not so big of a thing.
You can have up to 2.
Yeah. But, I mean, still, it's... Oh, government.
I don't know if that played for... Ow. Bit my tongue, damn it. Hold on, that might be playing for a second. Nope, it's not playing, I don't think. Never mind.
I was about to say, what we got playing? What you got?
I got a video, but I've got no audio.
Oh, no. What about this?
I just went through all this to fix this.
Oh, no. We're having technical issues again.
And I can't get, God damn it.
Well, there's static going through it. Not that means
There's
anything.
nothing playing at the moment.
Oh, okay. All right. Man.
I don't know I don't know if I'm going to be able to play the video with sound or not. I'm just going to grab a random video.
What's up, guys? I'm Carly Kloss, and today I'm going to show you how you can build...
Okay, so now it's working.
Yay!
Oh, I see why it wasn't working, because I had to mute something earlier. Okay, so I can unmute this tab. Okay, so... I want to spend the final leg of the show talking about some pretty nutty YouTubers. I haven't watched this video yet, but I actually want to just dive into this and see my own reaction. I'm really curious what this Milo Stewart, their latest video, is about.
Oh,
this is someone that's big into the whole trans thing. They think they're a non-gender, non-binary something or another. I don't know what's going on, but I
the asexual.
The asexual. I've got to see what their latest video is. So, take a listen to this.
This is the first time I am filming a YouTube video while not wearing pants.
Well, it's already a great beginning.
I'm so glad that he announced that. How about you? I mean...
Well, you know, I mean, I'm wearing pants.
You see that?
Pants go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What's the point in announcing that? Alright, I'm going to play.
Go ahead and tell me I'm not a real YouTuber. I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that criticism. I am wearing a t-shirt that is, I think it's pretty cool. T-shirts with political messages that I support. This is a t-shirt from a company that makes t-shirts for various different social causes called Outcry Tees. They did not sponsor this video, but they sent me this t-shirt, and I will link to their website in the description. At the end of my last two videos, I asked for comments and video responses from all of you watching, so that I could respond to your thoughts in a video.
Okay,
and that is this video.
Oh my gosh.
Shoe on Head, hey June, commented, what would you consider to be the differences between being a feminine trans guy and a non-binary person taking tea who still enjoys feminine qualities/styles? The only real difference between a person who is assigned female at birth who identifies as non-binary and a binary trans guy is that the non-binary person does not identify entirely as male, whereas a binary trans guy does. That's the only difference between the two. Methods of transition and different style choices do not have anything to do with that. I think people often use gender expression and a preferred method for transition to figure out how they identify, but those things are separate. The only thing that...
Okay, does anyone know what he said up to this point? Because...
he lost me at binary.
I thought binary was like a science or something.
Binary is just...
No, that's like computers.
Yeah, because it's...
Which are all ones and zeros, by the way.
1 0 0 1
Well,
0.
it's not so much 1 0, it's on and off. I mean, that's where you get the 1 and 0, on and off.
He still looks like a bug-eyed person.
Because you can talk about a binary star system, and it has 2 stars.
Oh, so he's a light switch.
Sure.
Gotcha. A light switch trans. Sometimes he's a boy, sometimes she's a girl.
Why not? Sounds great.
Well, that makes more sense to me than non-binary.
But they're going through the sex change, so if you're going to be going back and
forth... Did it sound fine?
Get into that part.
Okay. Well, just let me know if it was absolute garbage. So I want to make sure that the video is doing okay and not like giving all kinds of crazy feedback, because if it is, then this is a bad idea.
Sir Wolfie says mute something, echo chamber.
Echo chamber?
I have no idea.
I don't know either.
The video echoes.
Oh, maybe that's
Does
because
it?
of this.
Yeah.
Aww.
That is...
Speaker right there, hook mic right there, I bet.
Alright. We'll see how that goes.
Actually, I think I may have a cure for that. Anyway, okay, since now we know what's going on, let's continue on with this.
Makes a non-binary person, or a trans guy, or a cis female, is that they have an internal sense of gender that aligns with their identity. I'd say I have experiences that differ from the traditional trans guy narrative that make it easier for me to tell that I'm non-binary, but those don't dictate my identity. For example, I don't really have dysphoria around my chest. I get gender euphoria for seeing myself with a flat chest, but the fact that I do have a chest with breast tissue there does not bother me. I also have some bottom dysphoria, but I don't think I experience bottom dysphoria in a way that fits a traditional trans guy narrative. For example, I primarily experience...
Narrative? Why would they use the word narrative there? trans guy narrative. So feelings are a narrative?
Maybe it's the internal monologue of hating themselves. Because I only know one transgender person, male to female, and they have some serious issues with looking at themselves as they were born, when they really want to see themselves as this envision of this beautiful woman that they'd like to be. So I think that's what they're talking about, is like looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing what you were born with and just going, ugh, and all that internal narrative going on in their head, how much they hate themselves.
Okay.
I think.
That would be the only way to make sense of it.
I suppose that would sound right. See what else they have, I guess.
I am being physically intimate with a partner who has a penis. Still, the only way I know that I am non-binary is because I don't feel like a dude. I don't like being treated like a dude all the time.
Wait a minute.
But you're getting a sex change, right?
They've gone through all of this.
Yeah.
All of this changing of their gender identity to become a male, even to the point of changing their voice and I'm guessing taking testosterone. But yet sometimes they don't want to be a guy.
Okay, so sometimes they just want to be a drag queen.
I was about to say that we're not talking about a detachable penis here.
Great song.
That is a great song. Coin operated boy.
That too.
Wow, my brain totally went off track.
Sorry, derailed a little.
No, that's fine. It's fine. No, this just it completely boggles my mind because
it sounds counterproductive.
It does. It doesn't make any sense. Real trans people with real trans issues and real dysphoria issues, they're not looking just to be given a light switch to be able to flip it on and off. This is how they really feel. This is who they really are. They want to be that. And someone like this comes along and basically just goes all over it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you just want to be just one gender? You're not good enough. Well, dang. Like, I'm still one of you, but you're not. What? It doesn't make any sense. Either you guys are both sharing the same issues, even if you feel differently about it, but you're still having the same physical issues. You should, like, be a support network, not judge them.
No, and this is the person I was talking about earlier that said that they said all white people are racist, all men are misogynistic, and all cisgenders are transphobic. So this is coming from the same person.
All cis people are just confused. We're not transphobic. We're just afraid of calling you the wrong freaking thing and you get offended.
And explode in our faces when we're
just confused.
Yeah. Try education instead of being pompous pricks about it.
Well, yeah, because, you know, you guys are supposed to be the open-minded ones, but yet you're more closed-minded than I am. I'm trying to figure out what to even call you. Like, what pronoun do I call you?
Right.
Like,
right.
And
yes.
the entire time you're sitting here judging me because I didn't pick the 1 out of 43 options I had.
Well, you didn't call me the right thing, so you are beneath me.
That's why I just call people hun.
The one, yeah. It's like, hey, hun, because that's completely acceptable. We're south enough.
Right.
You know?
And it has only offended a couple people because, you know, you gotta offend somebody at some point for no matter what you say.
It doesn't matter how polite you are.
I've honestly just offended 1 or 2 people calling them hun instead of yes ma'am or sir. Because I don't even, like, I'll look at somebody and I'm like, you know what? I ain't even gonna play. I don't know, because I know what you were. I don't know what you are. So, hey, hon, how you doing?
Right. Well, you know, and this is coming from, like, eventually I'd like to check my options. I'd like to have the sex change. I've always identified male. You know, I have a unique ability at this point in time where, you know, I'm having a baby. You know, and it's changed my outlook on life in itself. but there is a big part of me that still identifies male, and I feel like I would be more comfortable in you know, that transformation. The one thing that scares me though is the hormones that you have to take. Is it going to change who I am? Am I going to still have the same thought process?
Possibly not.
Right.
Because we all know hormones are a scary thing.
Yes.
They can change you in a briefest of moments for any reason.
Right.
Now imagine having all of those hormones, foreign hormones at that, pumping through your body. I don't know what it would be like for a woman to take testosterone. Probably a lot like maybe steroids is what I would imagine.
The anger for sure is something that scares me, having anger problems already.
Like that, I don't know what it would do, but that's in my imagination. It's probably going to be a lot like steroids.
Right.
But with men going to women, there's crying, irrational decisions. I mean, it is like 16 years of puberty in a week. Like just smacking you in the face. That has got to change things. I know it changes things.
But, you know, and I wonder if this Milo person, you know, is actually going through, you know, these changes, if you will, taking, you know, transforming, you know, from female to male, and that's why her YouTube videos are turning out the way they are. And if so, she needs to quit YouTubing until she goes through the entire scene of the change and not be putting so much effort into, I feel like she's purposely putting a target on her head.
Oh, sorry, ignore that.
What the fuck was that?
Just queuing up the next video, sorry.
Okay, I'm like, oh shit.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail you like that. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I'm actually anxious. Have you seen any of Milo's new videos? I want to see.
That was the new one.
That was the newest one?
That is one of the newest ones.
The voice hasn't changed very much.
It's different than his early videos. Yeah, their early videos. What? I can't read that from here.
Sir Wolfie is talking in live chat as far as some of Milo's new videos.
Yeah. His voice changed a lot from the early videos to the later videos because it starts out very fast. When I first started watching Milo videos, I thought it was a woman. And I didn't realize that I was actually, watching a trans person.
Right.
So I just assumed it was a woman. And then we started watching the videos recently because of the show and all that. And the videos we listened to were more recent. And it's very deep compared to the early ones. So yeah, he's gone through quite a bit of the transitioning. But I have something else I wanted to throw up before we get done with the show.
Sure.
Let's see. This is a, or is it? Is it privilege or? I don't think it's a privilege one. Where is the consent video? There we go. What is consent?
Oh man.
This is from Queer Kid Stuff. I brought that up to you earlier.
Right. I did mention this.
Yeah. Okay. This is the one that contains the. Now this channel, this person Lindsay, they made this channel, and it is, according to them, directed at 3 to 7 year olds. So bear that in mind. They're directing at 3 to 7 year olds. So here we go with what is consent after the ad.
Of course, because you can't get anything free without ads.
No.
I think I muted it, didn't I? Yeah, unmute. All right, here we go.
Are you putting the video on too?
No, I haven't put the video on. I actually totally forgot about doing that. There we go.
Queer Kid Stuff. Welcome to another episode of Queer Kid Stuff. Today we're talking about consent. Ready, Teddy?
Ready.
Teddy?
Yes, Lindsay?
Have you noticed that I always ask you if something is okay before I do it? Ready, Teddy? You ready, Teddy? Ready, Teddy?
I guess so.
And that I always wait for you to say yes before I keep going?
Ready. 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 Yes.
Consent is about consenting or giving permission to someone for something.
Whoops.
So, saying yes is consent.
Yes. Saying yes to someone is giving that person your consent. The easiest example is sharing. When someone asks you to share your toy with them, you can always say yes or no. When you're playing with someone, you should share your toys because it's a nice thing to do, but you always have that choice to give or not give consent.
What if it's a special toy and you don't want another bear to break it?
It might be a time to say no and not give your consent. The most important thing to remember about consent is that you should always respect when someone else says no. That is their choice to make, not yours. Even if you might not like their choice, you should always respect it because they probably have...
Okay, now bear in mind, this is a video, this is supposed to be about consent. But they're essentially talking about permission, but... I mean...
They shouldn't be using the word consent. They should be using the word permission, because when I think of consent, I'm thinking of adult activities that you need to consent to. Like, hey, can I touch your boob?
Right, right. And that's the thing, though. It comes off as really creepy.
It does come off as creepy.
A lot of people that have seen this video find her and everything about her, or him. God, I don't even fucking whatever at this point. It. And I don't like to say it because I know how derogatory that is.
Always
I hate it, but I don't like this person.
When playing the pronoun game, them is always a good one. Yes, I know there is not two of them, but you also are not sure what they are. So
that's true.
Them is always an almost acceptable one.
They, them.
So this person comes off as a real absolute creep because they've got this show that is aimed for 3 to 7-year-olds, talking about content that really no 3 to 7-year-old should even be in the ballpark of asking about yet.
And on the parenting note, it's also teaching children that if they say no, their parents have to listen at 3 to 7 years old. That sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah, it does. So there's a song that they play. You got to hear this.
Just like you always have a choice to say yes or no when someone asks to hug you.
Okay, got it. I can only play with someone else's toy when they say I can.
Exactly. It's really important to remember that yes always means yes, and no always means no. Any answer that isn't the word yes also means no.
So, yes means yes, no means no, and other things mean no too?
Yes. Here, I've got a little song to help us out.
Oh no.
Here we go.
It goes a little something like this, and you can help us out too. If someone asks, do you wanna play, and you don't wanna say no, it's a-okay to say nay, not yay, if you don't wanna say no. If you want to play, you should say yes, so all your friends don't have to guess, and everyone knows that no means no, but some other words mean no. Maybe means no, perhaps tomorrow means no, not now, how about playing later means no. If the answer is yes, there's no need to stress, we could play dress up or we could even play chess. The answer is not yes, then it means no.
Oh my.
Shoot me.
Because that can't be taken wrong at all.
Right.
So too, Teddy.
Oh my god, it's so awful. Oh.
I mean, if the age limit was higher and the music was better and it was actually educational, it would be acceptable. It is none of those things.
No, it's not.
It's none of those things at all.
Oh my goodness.
It's just plain damn weird.
I feel like my IQ just dropped, like, by 30%.
Oh, I feel like that watching MTV.
That's what she needs to be on.
But that begs the question, though, when you actually are talking about consent, and to adults, not children, and you talk about consent, and anything but yes means no, well, then what happens to kinksters that like being told?
That's why there's a safe word, bro.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully decent consenting adults have discussions about this before just guessing on that one too.
Absolutely.
I hope so. Well, did you have anything else that you wanted to hit? Any last words of any kind you wanted to get in?
I am thinking BDSM. I'm thinking about the community now, bro. You totally just did that to me. You sideswiped me, and now I am thinking all sorts of things that do not belong in this segment, and I have to wait until Friday, bro.
So I guess you're going to have to tune in on Friday if you want to hear her thoughts on BDSM.
Yes.
Nudge, nudge. Woot, woot.
So I take that as a no for now, though.
No, I'm good, bro.
Shameless advertisement for next week's segment.
Shameless advertisement.
How about you, Davia?
I think we've covered about everything I've at least you guys planned on telling me about. Plus some.
Okay, well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you with us today. Thank you for joining us on the air.
It was fun.
It's and thanks, Alex, and thanks to the correspondents that we had getting us stuff and getting us information.
Thank you for the new mics. I like it. I can hold this one. It makes me feel special.
Hopefully it's working out now. So
mine's red. It's awesome.
Mine is black. Les shows up on it.
Okay, so anyway, it's been a ride today.
Yes, it has.
Thank you guys for hanging out.
Thank you for showing up. That was freaking awesome.
Thank you for inviting me.
Think we could convince you to come back in a
hell yeah.
future episode?
Oh, I'm sorry. Anything but yes means no. Yes.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying that.
All right.
All right. Well, this has been Monday's episode in the Doghouse. It's been great having you guys listening. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please hit like. Subscribe to hear more content like this in the coming weeks. Share with your friends on Facebook, on Twitter, on any social media that you use. Get the word out so we can have, more great discussions, more people enjoying them, and who knows, maybe even take ideas from fans for future episodes. So, as always, try your best to stay out of the doghouse.
Unless you're me. Then stay in as long as possible.
Well, I mean, if you can't be good, be good at it.
Right. And decorate that bitch. Because I don't do cobwebs. Fuck that shit.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back on Wednesday. Have a good one.
Bye.